A very pleasant good morning, everybody. Peel yourself off the mat Monday here on the morning briefing. Jeff DeForest along with Mike Louie Lubitz, and happy to be with you as we get ready for Christmas week. I guess we have the full week, Louie, to prepare for this thing. I have yet to venture out and purchase a single gift. I'm inclined just to give cash to the grandchildren. They don't want to, there's no toy that they were in need of, and I don't even know that I could keep up with the sophistication of today's kids' toys. All we wanted back in the day, Louie, I don't know if you experienced this. Maybe some piece of sporting equipment. Was that your wish as a kid? A new bowling ball. I know you were big into bowling there. You were the second coming of Dick Weber and Don Carter in your youth. And probably because of your physical size, although you're not a weak link by any stretch of the imagination. But bowling might have been, if you were going to be some kind of pro athlete, might have been the right pursuit,
yeah.
right?
Oh, by
You need
far.
one shot.
Yeah.
One shot. That's all you need. You master that one shot, and you've got it. I don't care about changing speeds and oil and all of that stuff. But that's for Nelson Burton Jr. to decipher. We always wanted the latest toys, which I remember. I mean, my brother and I begged my parents, and my brother wasn't even a sports fan, but we were so turned on, literally, by the new electronic football game that came out many, many years ago. If you Google it, electronic football, you'll see this atrocity of a toy. That was, I mean, you talk about should have come with any number of warning and considerations, disclaimers on that. I think even the Surgeon General was telling you this might not be good for your health. Because you plugged this shit in, and as soon as you did, all of the players that you had assembled on the field, which took a long time because they were pretty small, they immediately collapsed, and it was not out of the question that you might torch an entire apartment building, as the Clinton Hill apartments nearly went up in smoke a couple of times when we plugged this thing in. But at the worst, it was like strapping yourself into all Sparky, and you're asking yourself, what insane person invented this game for children to play? The ball always got lost right away. It was about this big. And so we coveted that kind of stuff. It would be beyond obsolete today, electronic football or any of the games that we played, because now you have kids that they're glued to their cell phone. And so what do you get them? I'm known as Grandpa Defo to my grandchildren, and they're fully expecting me to just stuff a stick in their pocket like I was Jimmy Conway in Goodfellas and I was coming into a bar. Unbelievable. Yeah. It's like, Grandpa, you got a stick for us? And they even use the terminology, $100 bill. So limited in terms of what I'm going to have to do this week. I don't know, Louie, do you think it's a week where everybody's already checked out?
Yes.
Nothing is going to get done this week because you have until Monday.
Yeah, I mean, I may have been wrong previously. This may be the week that becomes a thing because I usually take my business world sense from my wife.
Yeah.
We live in, like you say, the toy department, so I don't know what the fuck people are doing, but she works like a business person's schedule, and this week is hectic for her until Thursday. So I presume that's probably how it is. But then she's done. Like from Thursday on, she doesn't work again till like the 3rd. So
that's the way it should be, man. All play and no work. All right. We had a chance to play around over the weekend watching NFL football. And there were some bowl games, although I didn't give them any consideration whatsoever. The Schmenk Bowls, the Weenie Bowls that were taking place there on Saturday. We did give out some winners. We did give out some losers. UCLA was kind of a unanimous pick of a lot of people, and they won their ball game. And we buried some people with New Mexico State.
Yeah.
That was rather unfortunate that they got shellacked. And we had Miami of Ohio from one of our handicappers, which they did cover the spread against Appalachian State on some bizarre theory that Mark Lawrence, one of our friends from playbooksports.com, gave us before the ball games. Other than having a betting interest, though, in the ball games, I don't know of what level of interest they would be unless you had a child that played for the team. Because I'm not sure that there was any great stimulation. Yet the NFL was, once again, infinitely fascinating as we're learning about the whole Shakespearean tendency for the race for the championship. Every team has its tragic flaws, Louie. Every single team has something wrong with it. All of the teams that are contenders. And you could start at the top where everybody's trying to elevate the Kansas City Chiefs to their previous status, Lubie. And what do we see? Women weaken legs. Travis Kelce, the most sure-handed guy. I mean, this guy was like Lester Hayes. He had stick 'em on his hands. He would make impossible catches. Five guys around him. They're grabbing his face mask, his shoulder. He's being horse collar tackled. Another guy's undercutting his legs, and boom, Mahomes throws what looks like just a balloon in there. And who comes down with the ball? Travis Kelce. All of a sudden, he's not all reliable anymore. Although, and could it only be blamed on Taylor Swift? Is this possibly like the curse of Rachel Nichols, where a woman has cast a spell on this poor guy, and he'll never be the same? Rachel Nichols, of course, a longtime reporter, was on ESPN, did the whole thing with the hoops, and then was victimized by cancel culture, actually, at the height of her career in terms of what level of professionalism she had achieved, because she was hosting like everything. She was hosting the NBA Finals. She was about to become the NBA commissioner, for God's sake. And yet every time she sat down with somebody, some evil fate was bestowed upon them shortly after the interview. They would either have a career-ending injury, be out for a long period of time, have several games where they couldn't do anything but fire bricks at the basket, where they looked like the worst NBA player that has ever been able to lace up a pair of Converse All-Stars. And then it's an old reference, right? I remember when that was another thing that you wanted for Christmas, a pair of Converse All-Stars. Is that still in vogue today, Lubie? Because people are wearing them as if they were dress shoes, as opposed to wearing them as a basketball shoe.
Heads and cons are like a stylistic vintage throwback. I don't know if you're asking for it for Christmas. I feel like Jordans are like the thing everyone asks. The kids love fucking Jordans.
Yeah. But what is the hot shoe? I don't even know.
You're talking the wrong guy.
Giannis Antetokounmpo? Could be. By the way, did you see? I mean, this Jaden Daniels. I remember one time I sat down at a basketball camp and I was sitting next to Bob Lanier, who was doing some of the coaching there, and I'm aware of the fact that he was notorious for having like size 16 feet. And I'm looking at this guy's shoe. It looks like a canoe. It was unbelievable. But Jaden Daniels, he was wearing a classy looking pair of shoes. No socks, though. I could never get away with that. Could you, Lubie? I mean, wouldn't the shoes start to stink after a while?
It just is uncomfortable. I don't.
Schwitzing feet. Yeah. No socks. That's the big thing with dress shoes. I could never tolerate that. Being of Jewish descent, my feet aren't exactly conducive to anything that is not double extra wide and flat as a pancake. So as a Parisian runway model, but anyway, that guy. I mean, he might have had the largest. I've never seen a shoe size like that. It looked to me on TV at the Heisman presentation like he was wearing a size 20.
Oh wow!
My God. Big hands then also? I mean, is that why I can throw the football like I don't even want to, never mind going into the Mandingo references there, Lubie. Anyway, we were talking about how Travis Kelce, women weak in legs. I do dig it that Taylor Swift, I like the shots of Taylor Swift in the booth, as opposed to the, insufferable number of times that they're displaying Jerry Jones in the coach's box. And did we see any of Jones last night? I didn't notice if they were panning to the booth there.
Showing a lot of him.
There's nothing better than seeing Jerry Jones in the owner's box, owner's suite there with his entourage of people. And, he's dropping the popcorn and thinking about ingesting a cyanide cap because he can't stand the sight of what's happening with the Cowboys. Well, was that an aberration, Lubie, this game last night against the Buffalo Bills? Cowboys performance? They come into town to play the Dolphins in our hometown in what should be a huge indicator as to what's going on in this chaotic National Football League season. I do dig Swift, though, in the booth, just to finish that thought, because, I thought I saw her mouth the words yesterday when they panned up to her, no fucking flag? I'm like, this is this, international sweetheart. Everybody loves this girl.
I love that she's becoming like a Jet fan.
She breaks up with people and they hold vigils and, they're lighting candles and sending balloons up into the sky, hoping that she just comes out with another hit song. And she's become like a degenerate NFL fan. I think I saw her punching up her cell phone and checking her wagers on FanDuel about the number of catches that Kelce would have in a ball game, which, if you could get inside information, that might be the way to do it. They're going to me 10 times today. Bet over 5.5 catches. What are we talking about here? Travis Kelce has turned into Kadarius Toney. That's one of the weird things. But the bottom line is it adds to the confusion of what's going on in the NFL, which you define very well, Lubie. Every team has its tragic flaws, it seems.
Yes.
You're watching the Ravens, and they have a mad penchant for spitting up and coughing up leads.
Yep.
As if, I mean, literally, Linda Blair and The Exorcist didn't cough up that much pea soups as they have. They've been leading in like every ball game to the final 2 minutes, and they still have been tied with 3 losses. And they still also had several times where they had to bail themselves out in situations. So they're flawed. I mean, we saw the Miami Dolphins up and down, lose to Tennessee with a 14-point lead, and then come back, shellac the New York Jets. I think defining the whole situation in the NFL is the fact that the Jets are finally mathematically eliminated from the postseason.
They were dreadful all year, and it took them till now.
They played like shit. Their season went out the window, up in smoke, right into a blast furnace as soon as Aaron Rodgers took his 3rd snap of the year and went down on that hideous turf at MetLife Stadium and said, "Why the fuck did I sign here?" And now he's running the franchise. Because this also helped the decision be pushed along. And we had a good friend illustrate the point very well on a show that we did earlier today, where he said that the entire New York media has to follow this ridiculous saga of whether or not Aaron Rodgers is coming back under impossible circumstances, defying all medical history and diagnosis and prognosis. And for some reason, he's going to come back and quarterback the Jets into a last-minute ditch effort to make it into the postseason. And these poor guys, unfortunately, are subjected now to watching the Pat McAfee show all day.
Yes.
Was his point? Because that's the only place where you get any information about Aaron Rodgers. He reveals everything there and controlling the Jets franchise like Joe Willie Namath never did, even though he's only taken 3 snaps for the team. We were saying earlier, too, that, I mean, if they ask him, what he wanted, and he said, dig up Fuzzy Thirst in the block for me and I'll come back. The Jets would be exhuming bodies somewhere in Wisconsin right now. I mean, just pushing the snow away from this poor man's grave and trying to accommodate every wish of Aaron Rodgers. So crazy stuff. I don't know. Who do you like to emerge from all of it right now? Well, Lubie, we do have a lot of evidence on the table here. The NFC with the 49ers putting up 45 points yesterday over what we think is a pretty inept Arizona team. The game wasn't close, but Arizona scored, I think, 29 points in the ballgame, which is kind of surprising. And so they continue to dominate of late after that 3-game losing streak. We'll find out more about Philadelphia tonight, right? Supposedly, Jalen Hurts has like a case of the bubonic plague, never mind COVID-19. He's extremely sick. He's flying out to Seattle on his own. Seattle maybe playing Drew Lock. Geno Smith also questionable for tonight's ball game. So it's possible that we see yet another. This could become a show that is hosted by Roger Goodell, the Battle of the Backups.
Oh, Jesus.
And it could be a classic tonight. But Philadelphia seems to be falling off a little bit. Dallas gets slaughtered yesterday by the Buffalo Bills, who are both excellent and their own worst enemy at the same time. So I don't know. What do you come up with? I mean, can we throw an umbrella over like 10 teams right now in the NFL?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, to me, it's when healthy, the Niners are number 1. And then it's everyone else. The Dolphins last week sucked, but they answered the call. Yeah, you played a bad Jets team injured. Well, the Dolphins were missing 9 starters. So that's the kind of game that could not go your way. They dominated on both sides. So they put themselves right back in the middle of it. The Chiefs struggled. The Ravens got a win, but it was only really because the Jags couldn't get out of their own way. The Jags left 13 points off the board in just the first half alone.
I thought Doug Peterson was going to blow his brains out at halftime. I really did.
It's open.
I mean, figuratively, let's face it, people. We don't mean that literally, but, this is no filter after all. But did he not look like a man, as we said about Brandon Staley the other day, which it turned out he got fired that very same day? That was, trying to see if he could be in Dead Man Walking 2. Sean Penn probably doesn't look the part anymore. And I don't know that he could do that thing with the hair like he did. That was probably the best use of hair in any movie. Sean Penn and Dead Man Walking. Unfortunately, it ended up looking like Don King's after they sparked the guy. But Brandon Staley had that very same look on his face, for sure. All right, we have to run. We have the Monday Night Football game tonight, Seattle And the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles need to get back on track. They've been clobbered in their last 2 ball games, Lubie. Do they do that tonight? You've been actually fairly accurate with your NFL predictions of late, which is quite a surprise to many people. What do you think?
The Jalen Hurts thing is a little weird, and their backup situation. Drew Lock's actually not horrible. I don't know who the hell their backup is, so that scares me a little bit if I'm the Eagles. Their defense has been an issue. I guess I would lean Eagles in that game, but I don't know. I probably would stay out of it. I wouldn't know I don't know what to do with that team right now.
Seattle always a difficult road trip. No matter what kind of condition the Seahawks are in, it's just as they say, that is some schlep from Philadelphia to Seattle to play a ball game, especially if you're not even close to feeling 100% from an illness standpoint. Not even the injuries that seem to have debilitated and impeded Hurts play all season. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go with the chalk, milk and magnesia. I think Philadelphia bounces back after 2 really tough losses and handles possibly a Drew Lock-led Seattle Seahawks team tonight and covers a 3-point spread. So we're going to go ahead and do something that nobody in their right mind would recommend. My grandmother's dying words to me were always take the points. Sorry, Grandma. Eagles -3 tonight against the Seattle Seahawks. All right, we have to run. Thanks so much for being with us. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, getting ready for just a festive Christmas week. Hope everybody's in the spirit of things. We'll be with you tomorrow with the next edition of the Morning Briefing right here. I'm Jeff DeForest on NoFilter.net.